So yesterday was one of the more disappointing days that I think both of us have had on the podcast.
Yeah.
We were up, ready for a John Gibbons, former manager of the Toronto Blue Jays, interview at 11 a.m. And we waited around till 11:40 and Gibby never showed. But the good news is we just finished chatting with him today. He kind of owed us one. He gave us a ton of time. I think the interview ran an hour and 5 minutes, which is awesome. And most fun interview we've had in a while. Like all of our interviewees, obviously we appreciate and enjoy and all of that stuff. But it was maybe from my standpoint, it was so surreal to sit down and talk baseball with the former manager of the Toronto Blue Jays that I have been literally watching manage ball like 10 years over the last 20 years.
I mean, I will say that within the last year, we interviewed a zookeeper who used to play for the Blue Jays, Shea Hillenbrand, and he opened up to us about his involvement with the John Gibbons dust-up.
Yes.
And I just remember thinking back at the time, like, oh, wouldn't it be sweet to see these guys hash it out? And then, I mean, I don't want to spoil the whole interview.
But we asked Gibby what his big difference between his managerial styles from when he was doing it the first time in 2006 and then the second time. And he was like, well, I had more dust up with players my first time around, which I don't regret. It's the way it goes, and I had no hard feelings to anyone. And that gave us the perfect
we have a connection with Shea Hillenbrand.
Yeah.
John Gibbons currently does not. And he's, said he was open to maybe having Shea on his new podcast and going over.
Anyways,
things.
what we're saying is if Shea Hillenbrand goes on the Gibby podcast, this is all our doing.
Exactly. It's like the Parrot
We
Trap.
were just like, do it, John. Come on, have him on. People would love it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think his response was, well, if you guys can help me get in touch with them, I'll do it. And we, of course, said, we'll trade Rolodexes if you really want.
Yeah.
So we'll trade you Shea for Josh Donaldson.
You give us your contacts, we'll give you ours. That's right.
That interview is up on Patreon right now, by the way. So it's unedited in the full extent, and it'll be available for everybody else for free, of course, in its full form on Monday.
Yes. So if you can't wait for that Gibby interview, then it's going to cost you $4 for the month to get in on Patreon. And we've got all sorts of goodies and extras. So totally worth the money, if I do say so myself. All right, everybody. A big thank you to the walk-off community. Hello and welcome, by the way. I'm Scott Belford, joined as always by the best co-host in the biz, Adam Mack. And the amount of comments and questions and interaction that we had pouring in for John Gibbons was incredible. So a big thank you to everyone who helped on that front.
I do also want to say a quick shout out to our community for helping us get John Gibbons in the first place. So.
Yes. I know Garth, friend of the show, Garth Yorgi on Twitter, started a little poll. Should John Gibbons, and tagged him, of course, should John Gibbons come on the Walk Off podcast? Yes, for sure. Those were his two options, and we had over like 200 votes. So again, thanks to everyone who kind of badgered
and nobody voted
Gibby
no.
enough. Yeah, nobody voted no. We didn't have that option, but nobody voted no.
Thanks for politely harassing John Gibbons and helping put us on his radar, and it went very well. So we'll just leave it at that. Great interview. It's up now.
Well, we're fawning over our community here. I did want to give a little tip of the hat to all of you out there who helped us get our new computer. We're up and running on our new rig. There's a new schedule coming out. We're starting to try and put out content every single day starting on Monday. We're not exactly sure how that's going to work, whether we're doing a couple of live walk-off pods where you guys can kind of come on YouTube and join the fun type of thing, or if we're going to do isolated episodes. Anyways, if you have a preference, feel free to drop a comment. Let us know. We're all in this together, so you can help us form this new format.
Yeah, I
if
would
you
I
feel
would say that
necessary.
feedback over the next 2 to 3 weeks is going
Is
to be
needed.
very important because
Yes.
it is going to help shape the, I would say, next year or so of this show in terms of format.
100%. Okay. We're going to get into it here because we do actually have lots to talk about on today's show. It is an Apple game for today's Blue Jays and Orioles matchup. Of course, that is a thorn in a lot of our sides, which is
Nothing
too bad.
better than watching Steve Jobs talk baseball, let me tell you.
But despite that, all sorts of things going on in baseball that we're going to get to. Rays go away. The Jays actually wound up taking that 5-game series with 3 wins, but we see them again in less than a week. So we'll get into the remaining schedule and what lies ahead for our Blue Jays. Vladdy, an extension this offseason. He says he's open to it, but is it realistic? We'll get into that. Kevin Gausman has been quietly disappointing over the last 5 to 7 starts. We'll take a look at his numbers since the All-Star break. The Tampa Bay Rays make MLB history last night on Roberto Clemente Day, of all days, fielding the first all-Latino lineup seen in Major League Baseball, so we'll touch on that. Jordan Groshans, friend of the show, now a Miami Marlin, hit his first Major League home run. So we'll tip our hat his way. The Triple Crown, it's funny because we talked about the Triple Crown last year with Vladdy chasing it. Well, we might actually see a Triple Crown winner this year in both the American League and National League. Of course, this hasn't happened since Miguel Cabrera did it back in, I think it was 2011. So we'll talk the numbers and Aaron Judge and Paul Goldschmidt, and then we're going to wrap things up with a close look at the playoff race. We'll take a look at that AL Central. Things are heating up there. We'll get into the wild card race, and we'll take a peek over at the National League.